Hello students of class 10. Today I am going to revise the last part of chapter 1, that is the different sources that we use for writing the history. Now in this we have already done this part in our class. Now I am going to just revise this part once again. We have learnt about the government documents as the source material in history. We know that the government documents such as the police reports or the letters between the officials in different departments, these are the records of the government that are kept in a special place called archives, and from there we can get hold of the uh, different incidents or the different construction of or introduction of the laws and the bills and the regulations, rules and regulations, and also building of important buildings and in important events that had occurred in the course of time. Now the government documents, they are the primary source materials. They are regarded as the primary source materials in writing the history. They are more authentic than the secondary source materials like the memoirs and the autobiographies and the newspapers. Now the government documents are more authentic in the sense that they give us a detailed description of everything, and these descriptions are minutely evaluated and then recorded. So naturally they are unbiased, but sometimes they are corrupted also. So before we write them as the source of our history writing, we should verify them properly. In the same regard, we come across the autobiographies and the memoirs. I have already told you that autobiography is the unadulterated, that means it is the authentic version of a person's life said by the person himself. So autobiography is the story of the whole life of a person, how he had seen the events that had occurred in his lifetime, and what are the new things that had been introduced in the socio-political and economic field of a nation. So memoirs are quite like autobiography, but they are the parts of the autobiography. They are not the complete autobiography. Memoirs is a part of the autobiography. It describes about a certain incident uh, as viewed by a person. So the memoirs and autobiographies are secondary source materials like the newspapers and the periodicals or magazines. They tell us about the contemporary socio-political and economic situation as witnessed by an individual, and sometimes we get confused by by different persons views on a certain incident, but we'll have to study properly and authentify the validity of the writings. So before we form our own opinion based upon these autobiographies or memoirs, in this regard, we come across the autobiography of Bipin Chandra Pal, the 70 years or Shottur Bachor, where we come across the knowledge regarding the different festivals celebrated during that time. How did the students react to the British atrocities? and how did the other political incidents occurred, and also the cultural activities of that time. So these are all things which we come across from studying Bipin Chandra Pal's autobiography Shattar Bachor. Then we come across the memoir of Rabindranath Tagore, Jiban Smriti, where we get to know about his childhood. How did he spend his childhood? Also, the different activities that had occurred in the Tagore family. We come across all these things. Next, we come across Jibaner Jhara Pata, the autobiography of Sharala Devi Chaudhurani, who was the niece of Rabindranath Tagore. She had written about the socio-political matters during that time, especially her participation during the Swadeshi movement, how she had influenced the youths of Bengal in participating in the anti-partition or Swadeshi movement. And she had inspired by introducing Virashtrami Broto, Protapaditya Utsav. She had also worked for the upliftment of the women by establishing Bharat Stree Mahamandal. So during the partition of Bengal, in protest and in support of the indigenous industries and indigenous goods, she had opened Lokhir Bhandar. So all these things we come across from reading the autobiography of Sharala Devi Chaudhurani. We also learn that she had helped the revolutionaries during the anti-partition movement and in and around anti-partition movement. She was an active member of Suhrit Shomiti, which was a secret society. And next we come across the letters written by Jawaharlal Nehru to his daughter Indira Priyadarshini. We know that he had been imprisoned so frequently that he was unable to give proper guidance to his daughter. So when he was imprisoned after the coming of Simon Commission in 1928, he had written the 30 letters from the prison to his daughter Indira Priyadarshini. And in these letters, he had explained about the Indian culture, the Indian, the how the farmers of India are engaged in the agricultural work, how glorious the Indian past was. So all these things were described in these letters, and also he had given her the guidance in her life, how to spend her life in a meaningful manner. How could she contribute in the upliftment of the country, and how could she open her mind towards the culture of the countries of the world, so that she could include those cultures, the goodness of those cultures in our in the development of our country. So the letters to the daughter from the father, or letters from a father to his daughter, uh, gives us a uh, vivid picture of the glorious past of our country, as well as the uh, socio-political condition, and how to overcome the problems of life. So these letters were translated by Munshi Premchand in Hindi, and they are very valuable source materials for construction of history of our country. Next, we come across the newspapers and periodicals. I have already explained about the newspapers and periodicals. I have given you the differences, that the newspapers, they publish daily news, the current events, and the periodicals, they are published at regular intervals and they are based upon certain topics, and they are expensive compared to the newspapers which are published on cheap materials, cheap paper. And the newspapers, sorry, the periodicals, they are published in the expensive paper, and so obviously they are costly compared to the newspapers. So the newspapers, we have discussed about the different newspapers. We have learned about Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's or Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay's newspaper Bongo Darshan, how Bongo Darshan had criticized the British government, and also it had explained about the condition of the farmers in our country, in Bengal especially. But then we come across the first political newspaper of our country, that is Som Prakash. Som Prakash was very much critical about the British government, and for that reason, the British government had uh, banned this newspaper under the Vernacular Press Act. Now, I have already explained about the Vernacular Press Act, which was introduced by Lord Lytton in 1798, 1878, and which had prohibited the vernacular newspapers from publishing any anti-British articles. So, Som Prakash, which was the first political newspaper of our country, was the first paper to be banned also, because it had criticized the British rules and regulations, and also the actions that the British had taken towards the Indian. So this is the limit of this lesson. That was the last topic that we have learned from this lesson. I hope that you get good revision by watching this video, as well as going through the notes that has been given in the class.